Hello, good morning, Mr. Zabihullah Mujahid, the spokesman of the Taliban, who shared his time for this exclusive interview with Press TV, and I'm glad to be with you.
Thank you, and I'm glad you gave me the time and the chance to do this interview.
مجاهد صاحب در نخست مردم خصوصاً جهان
I would like to ask first what the model of governance will be like for the future of Afghanistan. Please give us a picture and a clear model of your government.
In this regard, we must clarify that the Islamic Emirates is determined to have a system that is approved by our people, and our people feel comfortable under that system. And a system that is responsible to the people, is accountable, and meets the needs of the people. And about the picture, we'll see it when you come forward, people, you and us.
Allegations and debates are that the Taliban seem to consider only a certain ethnic group in their political and governance affairs, and the role of other ethnic groups in Afghanistan has always been a heated topic. Is the presence of other ethnic groups among you something symbolic? If so, would it be acceptable to the international community, the Afghan nation, and you?
First, it must be said with certainty that the Taliban do not have an ethnic bias or ethnic mentality. We are gathered under one mentality. In Afghanistan, the people who are with us have fought, sacrificed, and come together. We have not assembled based on ethnicity, and we do not believe in it. Tribes only have the place of knowledge or epistemic value, because God says in the Holy Quran that we created you in different tribes and clans so that you can know each other. This is not a privilege, but a means for people to know each other. It's enough of a privilege that we are Afghans and Muslims. These two are enough for Afghans to assemble as a single party and force.
Beside the religious aspect you mentioned, is the position of the ethnic groups in this particular geography, which has a long history of tensions, controversial for you?
No, ethnic issues here were fueled by the occupiers, like the British aggressors. They raised some ethnic issues and divided our people and pursued their goals. The same happened in the 20 years that the Americans were occupying here. I do not mean that they were able to divide people, but according to ethnicity, they divided some parties, gave concessions, and raised issues that our people will not accept. We, the people of Afghanistan, are brothers. All our people live here and have the right to live, and this is enough. There are diverse ethnicities everywhere. There are different ethnic groups in every country, but we do not see divisions based on ethnicity. In Afghanistan, we do not give anyone the right to divide us on the basis of ethnicity. Here, we are all brothers. We respect them, and all ethnic groups in our country will live together in a brotherly fashion as a single body.
It has been a few days since you captured Kabul and all of Afghanistan. People's greatest hope in you was that you maintain security and end violence, explosions, and suicide attacks. The Kabul airport attack was carried out by the Daesh terror group, and they claim responsibility for it. Doesn't it mean that people lost their only hope of security and an end to suicide attacks? And doesn't the involvement of Daesh mean the beginning of another war?
No, we assure you, first of all, that an investigation is underway to determine the main causes of the explosion that recently took place. Secondly, the ground was prepared for this explosion. Unfortunately, the American forces deliberately gathered a large crowd of people and caused disorder so that such an incident could happen. Also, other incidents occurred, and U.S. forces themselves opened fire fire, and as a result, people were shot dead or trampled upon. We have launched an investigation into the main cause of this incident. Even if we say Daesh carried out the attack, we reiterate once again that Daesh will not last long. In areas which are under our control and monitoring, we can prevent the reoccurrence of such attacks. In 33 provinces of Afghanistan, people feel safe. People are safe and people's property and dignity are preserved. And if there are other small problems elsewhere, it will be tracked by us and we will be increasing our monitoring day by day.
You said this attack was carried out by Daesh, so let's return to that issue. If one day Daesh pledges allegiance to you like Al-Qaeda, will you accept its pledge? And if your answer is yes, then would Daesh members live freely in Afghanistan?
First of all, it should be said that Daesh has not come here from Iraq and Syria, and they do not have a physical presence here. Some Afghans followed their ideology, and because there were some foreign forces present here, the grounds were prepared for the creation of such mentality. After the occupiers left Afghanistan and the country was liberated and an Islamic government is established, there is no excuse for anyone to operate under the name of Daesh or any other group. First, we will ensure the security of the country, and our message to those who operate under the name of Daesh is to reconsider that Afghanistan is no longer a war zone. What is true is that an Islamic system is being established here. Foreign forces are leaving Afghanistan, and there is no excuse left for us to persist in war and make sure that such a thing will not happen again, and we can stop it.
There has been a war in Afghanistan for 20 years, and you have called this war the U.S. war of occupation. Will you urge the United States to compensate for the losses Afghanistan has endured, because such demands existed after the Soviet occupation?
You see that now Afghanistan needs to pull itself together. We must heal the wounds now. If we emerge as a united and strong nation, there will be legal means and international channels to ask why our country was invaded and occupied. This takes time. Afghans now need to pull themselves together and not be distracted by other issues.
At the moment, perhaps one of your main concerns is your status before the international community. How much do you worry about this? And is this a huge burden for you? Will you take over Afghanistan's seat in the United Nations one day?
We are currently in a situation where other countries must trust and understand us. We, for our part, assure the whole world that we want to have friendly ties with everyone. The worries and concerns that some countries have can be resolved through diplomacy, through embassies and other legal channels. Exerting pressure is not the solution. We send our messages to all countries, especially Western states like the United States and Europe, not to stand in our way. If there are concerns, there are diplomatic ways for us to resolve our differences.
The concerns of the international community are for them to deal with. What are your concerns in this regard?
We are also worried that if a country is not recognized, we will have problems. But we believe that the world today is not the world 20 years ago. Those days, the U.S.'s will would happen.
Are you the same Taliban you were 20 years ago?
We have changed the situation. The world has changed, and there are countries that can recognize us independently. We have also gained a lot of experience compared to 20 years ago, meaning that we have gained maturity, which can save us.
Currently, a sensitive issue for the Muslim world is the issue of Israel, and some developments have taken place in some Muslim countries. What are your policy in this regard?
Our opinion is the same as the rest of the Muslim world. Israel should be recognized as an aggressor and occupier entity, and therefore this should be dealt with. This is an issue within the Muslim world, and all Muslim nations and the whole Muslim world suffer from it. This is our pain too. This is our complaint, and we are united in this with the rest of the Muslim world.
The United States left Afghanistan in a hasty, unexpected way. Does this departure affect the current situation in Afghanistan?
We knew that the Americans were leaving our country. They had to leave Afghanistan in May this year, and this departure was delayed for about 4 months. Our arrival in Kabul was completely unexpected, and we intended to enter Kabul in a way that the government's process of handing over power or political and security transition would not change, and in a way that everything would be in its place when we entered. But when our forces reached the gates of Kabul, the security forces fled, and the grounds were prepared for robbery and looting. While we were not fully ready, we had to enter the city, which caused some problems. But we are currently solving these problems.
Kabul airport will be handed over to you in a few days. At the moment, Afghanistan is facing serious problems in terms of air transport. Are you ready to resume flights and the operation of airports? And aren't you facing a shortage of technical workforce in order to do that?
No, God willing, we won't have any problem in that regard. Once the Americans are completely out and everything is handed over to us, we will have no problem. From the technical point of view, we won't have any problem either, because the previously trained workforce in this field remains in place and continues to operate.
What if the professional workforces have escaped?
No, they have not escaped. The technical and professional people in this field are still in contact with us. The managers are still in their positions. They are in contact with us from all provinces. We will not have any problem in this area.
People are worried about how long it will take to fill the power vacuum in Afghanistan, and a problem is resolved in this regard. Can you clearly specify when Afghanistan will have an establishment in place?
I cannot specify a certain time by which this will have been done, but we are serious about filling this gap and establish a government.
So this means people have to be patient, right?
This will be resolved within a week or a week and a half.
My last question is, the Taliban acted strongly regarding the military aspect. Aren't the Taliban weak in terms of reconstructing Afghanistan?
Reconstruction is not the job of the military. We know that. Fighting was their job and they were used to it, and now they provide security. Security is very important. Once security is maintained, which is a basic condition for reconstruction, all our people, the people of Afghanistan, businessmen, engineers, and the general public are all interested in rebuilding Afghanistan. Previously, security was a condition. We prepare the grounds so the construction workforce will take care of rebuilding the country. I myself am very interested in the reconstruction of Afghanistan so that the process will start as soon as possible, and there is a good feeling in this regard. From the high-ranking officials of the Islamic Emirates to the lower ranks of people, all Afghans will build their lives and their homes. It is not difficult to recognize that the ground is prepared and we can join hands to fulfill this task. This way, reconstruction will not be difficult.
Thank you very much for your time and kindness.
Thank you, and for your kindness too.